The Ferrari has no business being on pole. Charles Leclerc with a lap of the gods at a track that's one of the hardest for him personally on the F1 calendar. Bags pole position for the Hungarian Grand Prix. This is the Ghost Car Edition. Let's go through it. We're going to be riding on board with Oscar Piastri, who qualified second. You'll see Leclerc's see-through car show up here, the Ferrari, as they come down towards turn one. Now, first off, what we're going to do is let's just play this lap out, have a look at it, and then we'll go through it step by step and frame by frame and break it all down to see where the differences actually are, as Leclerc just out-qualified Oscar Piastri by a few hundredths of a second as both come up to turn four, both very committed through there. Maybe Leclerc a little more committed, but as they get to turn five, you can see that Piastri is really starting to pull away at this moment. However, when we get into this high downforce section here, you can see that Leclerc is really starting to fight back, and Ferrari not really known for a high downforce setup on their car. Usually the McLarens, that's their territory. That's what makes all of this so interesting. But again, remember, a lot of wind, windy conditions for Q3 for these laps. So some teams struggling a little more than others as they come through the final turn to complete the lap in its entirety. Okay, let's play this one out again, and we'll go through it step by step. Here we go. Opening the lap, Oscar Piastri on board with. We're going up to turn one. Just want you to notice the differences in lines entering this corner. I'll pause it here. You can see just how far to the right Leclerc is, but you can see how far away from the apex curbing that Oscar Piastri is. Now, there is quite a bit of grip in turn one here at this track. It has been resurfaced. However, if we play this out, this is just two separate driving styles in tackling the corner, and that's all it is. Turn two, Leclerc looks like he brakes a bit too late, causes some understeer, while Piastri doesn't. He's able to get back on the power sooner as they come through turn three, then heading up to turn four here. Turn four is interesting because this is a pretty big commitment section. Drivers usually will go through one downshift as they're going in, a little bleed of the throttle, and then, being aggressive and getting back onto it. I think Leclerc is a little more committed through here than Piastri is, but as we come up to this braking zone, Piastri able to carry in a lot more speed, gets back on it, heading up to turn six, turn seven. Watch this. He's going to get a perfect entry into this first chicane here. Watch Piastri as he tackles that yellow curbing that's just in front of us on the ground there. That's a perfect entry right there. But Leclerc's going to start fighting back here as they come through turn eight. You can start to see the little invisible haze starting to form over top of Piastri's car at this moment. You can see Leclerc really starting to come back again. This is all really high-speed stuff. This should be McLaren territory. I find this really interesting through there. But coming up to turn 12, really hard on the brakes. For Leclerc at this moment, all he's doing is he's thinking, look, I'm on a good lap. I can feel that I'm on a good lap. I just need to keep this thing really just neat and tidy. And that's all he's doing, and that's all he's thinking, because so far up to this point, he's had maybe 2 moments of some understeer, but other than that, really clean lap. As we come to the second last corner, the most important thing with this is, as we approach the final turn, watch this. So as we dive into turn 14, the final turn, you can see that Leclerc has turned in and committed a little bit earlier, and also with a lot less speed. Where Piastri, because you'll see him jump ahead a tiny bit, Piastri actually really hustles the entry to this corner, and that's going to bite him as we watch his hands. Watch his hands. See, little correction there. Keep watching his hands. Watch his hands. There it is. Now, at this moment, he should be committed to the turn. The steering wheel should be turned into the corner. And what's happening now is, since he's having to have this little tiny correction, and with turn 14, you have to be fully committed to getting back onto the power. So for Piastri, it's a little bit on the power. Oh boy, I got to make a bit of a correction. Coming off the power a little bit, coming off that accelerator, turning back in, feeling when the front is committed again, turning back in. There's his hands, and then he gets back onto the power. But by this moment, Leclerc's already back on the gas. And see you later as he rockets out of turn 14, capturing his first and Ferrari's first pole position of the season. A remarkable lap from both drivers, especially Charles Leclerc. Brilliant stuff from both, though. Like I said, the race on Sunday is going to be incredible. So make sure you tune in. TSN, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It may actually rain for this one, and if it does, that's going to cause all kinds of havoc, and it's going to throw a wrench into every team's plan.